Shabbat Shalom, my friends. It is really good to be with you, and especially our sixth grade families. You're graduating Thursday, I understand. That's pretty good. Congratulations. I'm happy for you. So I thought, what should I share with you? Indeed, everybody who is here and everybody who's watching us from wherever they are, what could I share with you that would be, I hope, meaningful to everybody? So I've decided to share 7 areas of your life that I think you should all consider developing, whether you're young, middle-aged, or older. All 7 of these are worthy of greater study, but I hope by raising them, it'll just at least be a catalyst for greater thoughts. So here's the first area to develop. Develop friends. Friends are among life's greatest gifts, and your friends are a reflection of who you are. So seek out people of good quality. So what's a good friend? A good friend is someone who supports you, and a good friend is also someone who will be critical of you at times, who will take you aside and say, you know what, you're not necessarily living up to the standards that you really generally hold for yourself. So seek out that kind of friend, the person who will both be supportive of you and the person who will lift you up and make you a better human being. The second area to develop, at least consider developing, are your personal ethics. For all of us, we have to make good decisions. And one of the questions we can ask ourselves when we're about to do something is, will this make me proud? And in this regard, I want to caution you against chasing fame or chasing the famous. I will tell you, I believe fame can be a very dangerous drug. Rather, that's a sermon for another time, by the way, because we have a world that is chasing fame, but I want to suggest chasing something else. Chase goodness. Chase better character. That's worth developing. The third area to develop is self-control. This is perhaps one of the most important things you can do for yourself and that you can do for others. Learning to control one's desires is so important that it's actually not only in the Torah, we chose it to be a part of daily prayer. You know the end of the Shema, when it tells you to look down at the tzitzit, the fringes, to remind yourself not to follow your heart or your eyes, which can lead you astray. In other words, my friends, when people say just follow your heart, it's not always a good thing to do. Your heart may not necessarily lead you in the right direction. In fact, often it won't. I'll give you an example, maybe a mundane example, then a more serious one. My heart often yearns for more dessert. Put any kind of dessert in front of me, my heart is into it. But if I followed my heart all the time, probably wouldn't be a good thing. And in the ethical realm, let's say you make a commitment to go to a party, and then you get invited to another party that's going to be more fun with some of your friends there. Well, your heart may say, I'll go to that other party, that second party. But you know it's not the right thing to do because you made a commitment to the first party. Don't always follow your heart. And I'll go further. Controlling your impulses is vital to being a decent human being and to living a happy life. There is so much out there these days that is trying to grab our attention. And in some ways, that's a gift. But you will be happier and you will be better adjusted if you can learn to say no, to control your impulses. No at times to your telephone, no to Facebook, no to Twitter, no to Instagram, no to TikTok, because that pulls your attention away. There are times to say no to these things. And that's true, by the way, if you're 11 or if you're 51. Develop self-control. Which leads me to the fourth area, develop your knowledge of Torah. And a great way to do this is to sit together as a family and study the Torah portion every week, just for 10 minutes. You can do longer, of course. But sit with your children or grandchildren and study part of the Torah. It's a great way to come to know Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, to come to know Moses, but perhaps equally important, to learn how to act in this world, to seek out the mitzvot, the commandments, and to live by them. And parents, you will create an extraordinary memory for your children if you sit and read Torah with them and study with them for 10 minutes a week. Think about it. Would you like to have the memory of sitting with your own parents and studying Torah 10 minutes a week? Every single one of you has that possibility. Which leads me to the fifth area I'm going to suggest you develop perseverance. We live in a world where there is so much at our fingertips, so much which is easy to get. We want to know something. You want to know what's the capital of Florida? Hey Siri, what's the capital of Florida? Who was the sixth president of the United States, Alexa? What's 19 times 25? You can ask your phone, your device. In some ways that's good, but in some ways it's not, because we become accustomed to learning things very easily. Many of you have natural talents. Maybe they're academic, maybe they're in sports, in music, different arts. If you do, you're lucky, you're blessed. But almost nothing takes the place of perseverance, of determination, of persistence. The world is littered with talented people who didn't work hard to develop their talents. So don't always take the easy way out. I will share with you in my life the areas where I have tended to work the hardest have brought me the most meaning. The sixth area I'm going to suggest you develop is gratitude. And we talk a lot about that at Y School, right? We call it an attitude of gratitude. Every single one of you has heard that term a lot of times since you came to Wise. And it's so important. Be grateful for all the blessings you have in your life, your families, your friends, your freedoms, your country, your health, Israel. The list goes on. Always, always, always be grateful. And finally, at least for now, I suggest you consider developing your relationship with God. Take a moment every day to say a prayer and thank God for the gifts you have in your life. I think it's a good thing to do that first thing in the morning or at the end of the day. Say a prayer to God, thanking God for bringing you home safely and your loved one safely at the end of the day. And ask God for things, but I want to add something that's perhaps even more important. More important than asking what you want of God, ask yourself what God wants from you. That's part of the deal. If we want to become better humans, we should say better human beings. Let's ask ourselves, how, God, can I be a better person? God, what would you like me to do? So I'll close with this thought. You're graduating on Thursday from our Wise School. Congratulations to all of you, to your parents. I want you to know you have just begun your Jewish journey and your Jewish studies. Sometimes people go on to get much more sophisticated views of everything else, math, history, English, chemistry, philosophy, and then they look back and Judaism seems so infantile. Well, if you stop it at 13, you will have stopped your Jewish education at 13. Don't do that. I hope for every single one of you, your Jewish education will be something that you will not only cherish what you have, but you'll continue it, and that you'll be a part of our congregation for many years to come. I'll tell you, so many members that I have spoken to came here as parents, many of them as students themselves. And if you speak to them today, many of them will tell you how much this community has meant to them. That's my hope for you and for your families as you enter this new and exciting phase in your lives. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.